Damn.
Up, I am Frank the Tank, and in this video today we will be going over a fairly old deck, and that is the Mech Mage. It's been around since towards the beginning of Goblins vs. Gnomes, but unlike most of my other decks, those are kind of a bit more complicated to play, or involved a lot of legendaries or knowledge of the meta, I guess, to play. Something that a new player might not have. So this is a deck that they can use, and experienced players can use it as well. It's not too complicated to play, and it is fairly powerful. It doesn't involve, every turn having a decision that could decide the game. So this is something too that if you're not a big fan of Mage, this can help you get things like your daily quests done if you're trying to rack up gold. So yeah, let's get right into it. So you got the Clockwork Gnome, just a simple one-drop, gives you a spare part. The Cogmaster, this is good for, you play it, it's a 1-2, not too impressive, but if you play a mech with it next turn or on the same turn with a coin, you can get a 3-2 for 1 mana, which is pretty good. Frostbolt, this is mostly used for removal, however you can use it on your opponent's face towards the end of the game as burn, if you want to put them in kill range if you wanted. Unstable Portal, this is an interesting card in this deck. A lot of people run 1 or none. You can run 0, 1, 2, it's completely up to you. These are can really help you if you have an extra 2 mana left over. You can just play an Unstable Portal, see what you get. If you've got your back against the wall and you have an Unstable Portal in your hand, you never know what you might get out of it that could help you. So that's what I like about this card. I've gotten things like Grom from it, ping it and do some unreal damage. Things like Deathwing from it. But most of the time, if you had Unstable Portal and something like a Snow Chugger, you'd want to play the Snow Chugger because, there's a chance you'll get a Wisp or something from the Unstable Portal. You got 2 Noyatrons. These don't do much damage, but their main function is to protect your other mechs from incoming attacks, so they can deal more damage, have a couple more turns to live. You got Mech Warpers. This is kind of the heart of the deck. This helps you push out mechs quicker than your opponent can deal with them, especially in the early game. So they're pretty important. Snow Chugger, that's the little brother of the, Water Elemental there. It freezes your opponent's minions or face if they take damage from it. So it is fairly good. And 2 for 2, 3, those are pretty decent stats. They're not too bad, not too good. But, it's standard. But this can be used to freeze your opponent's face if they're something like a rogue, a warrior, something that relies on a lot of weapon damage to finish you off. You got 2 mirror entities. Now, this card is interesting. You don't really want to play it on turn 3. You're already playing something like Spider Tanks, Tinkertown Technicians, other mechs. So, mirror entities you want to save towards the later stage of the game. You can see this is what's actually going to produce your big drops. You don't have many big drops. So if it does drag on in the later stage of the game, chances are you're not going to win, but mirror entity gives you that opportunity to win. You got to be careful. Things like Freeze Mage, or decks like Freeze Mage rather, can take advantage of this by playing something like a Doomsayer, which this will then copy and then activate as soon as they end their turn, wiping your whole board. So just be careful for that. 2 Spider Tanks, just a fairly sturdy minion, 3-drop, not too bad. You got the Tinkertown Technicians, so basically most of the time it's a 4/4 for 3 and gives you a spare part. So it's pretty decent. 2 Fireballs, again, removal, but if you'd like, you can use it as face damage. Goblin Blast Mage, this is a really good minion too, 4 for 5/4, and most of the time you will have another mech on the board, so you will be able to deal 4 damage, which is pretty good. So you can most of the time couple this with a ping and clear out most or all of your opponent's minions. Really good against things like Hunter, minions have 1 health. 2 Mechanical Yetis, so they are pretty good minions, 4 for 4/5, kind of like normal Yeti, but you do get a spare part off it, which is pretty good. Sorry about Chez, he's a bit of a danker, as they say. Piloted Shredder, this is, you've probably seen this if you played the game at all. Just a really good minion, 4 for 4/3. They are going to be able to take care of it, but it does drop something. Something that could be really good, could be really bad if it's like a Doomsayer, so we just got to watch out for that. Lothab, you don't need this. This is something I just like to run. 5 mana, kind of close out enemy spells. They can't do anything like AoE. And Arc Mage, again, you don't need to run this. I just use this because my hand gets filled up with spare parts, and turning them into fireballs isn't too bad. So yeah, so that's the deck, and you can put in additional cards. I've seen people run Pyroblast to finish them off. What else here? I've seen people run things like Spellslinger, just go full aggro. But yeah, it's up to you. Mana Worms I've seen run sometimes with the spare parts, but yeah, so we'll head into a game here. Here we are, we're in a game, and this is our starting hand. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw away these. We could throw this back. Actually, we might. Yeah, because we need a 1-drop, and we're bound to draw another 2-drop if we don't. Even if we throw that back. So I think it's fine to throw it back. If you had a coin, you'd probably want to keep it because you can just play that on turn 1 as it is. See, we got a 2-drop anyways, so either way, we wouldn't have been able to play anything on turn 1. Which isn't the best, but it is what it is, Alright, so we're going to play the Mech Warper. If he ends up frostbolting it, oh well, it's his turn too, he just lost. If not, next turn we can have a 6 Spider Tank and Noyatron turn. So it all depends on what he does here. If not, we're just going to drop Spider Tank next turn. And we set up for a good tempo turn with the Blast Mage there. So he's just going to drop the Acolyte there. Alright, so this isn't too bad. Him dropping the Acolyte tells me he might be a Freeze Mage. That means he's going to want to probably attack this into the shield and then ping it. So he's going to eat up this turn anyways, which gives us a good opportunity to just put a bunch of face damage on early before he inevitably will AoE the board. And just loading up the board here, if he does try to do something like just drop a Doomsayer on the board, we have the necessary damage to kill it. So he is going to draw here. That's expected, I'd say. Okay, he's actually going to ping, so he doesn't want me to do as much damage to him, I guess. So what we're going to do is keep him drawing cards. We want to do that. It plays into Blizzard a little bit, because that'll die. But it lets us do this, so he doesn't draw 2. Hypothetically, if he was at something like 9 cards and we could have milled him the one he drew off the top of his deck, we would have. But, yeah, so you just got to look out for things like that. But he wasn't, so it doesn't really matter. So we don't really have a good turn 5. We're not just going to fireball his face. We can use this to remove something like a Doomsayer. So next turn we'll probably just portal unless we draw into something better first. But if we do draw something like a 2-drop, we'd want to portal first. Okay, so what we get is value AF. So I'd imagine he's just going to ping off my 5/1 here. Okay. So yeah, we'll just portal here. Desert Camel, okay. This will show if he has any 1-cost minions, if he's actually a Freeze Mage or not. Alright, so he is. But he basically needs an AoE or something here. Even if he does do Frost Nova Doomsayer, we'll just Fireball. And his Blizzard would still bleed me with 2 minions left. Yeah, so he's going to Frost Nova Doomsayer, it looks like. And we'll just Fireball ping that to clear it. But he is so low at this point that if he doesn't have an AoE here, we will win the game. How much damage do we actually have? 3, 6, 9. Alright, so we'll actually kill him this turn. Always BM, a wise man once told me. Alright, so we'll win that one. So yeah, so that's the Freeze Mage deck. Or not, that is the Mech Mage versus a Freeze Mage. Sorry. But yeah, it is a fairly simple deck to play. Not many high cost cards to craft in it, so fairly decent for beginners to use. So and it's pretty powerful too. You see pro players use it in tournaments and things like that. Fortunately, most of the mechs will be getting cycled out when the spring expansion comes along, and it'll only be playable in wild mode. But for at least the time being, it's still a pretty decent deck, I think. Either between that or my Freeze Mage deck, because I'm a Mage fan, so either one's good with me. So for doing the quest, rather. But yeah, so if you liked it, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to keep up to date with all the other videos coming out. And see you guys later.